Hi, Vikas.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Vikas, very nice firstly knowing you since the BNI days when we got together. We would just like to understand today from the first time when you had thought of starting a company, like where did that come from and what made you take that jump?
So, I have slightly a different path toward entrepreneurship than the standard people that you meet, at least in this forum. So I was an executive for a very long part of my life, professional executive, heading a multinational company. I chanced an opportunity for business, which my company was not willing to undertake because their fit was too risky. So with their consent, with their understanding, I moved out and set up this business in partnership with few other people, including a large multinational company who came in to join me. This was providing emergency medical assistance to corporates in remote locations. You see, when large multinationals, they come into India setting up projects and go to remote locations, they have no access to any medical help, right? But internally, they are very, very cognizant that they must be compliant to the health and safety standard. They can't compromise on that. So the only way they can sort of be compliant with those health and safety standards and yet operate in India to overcome that risk is to partner with somebody who understands the risk, can highlight the risk, and then can help them put the capacity to manage and deal with the risk. So if you're in a remote location, we would provide medical evacuation, the staff, clinic, and a 24-hour support for anything that happens. So that's how I started. Then it grew into something much larger. We were running ambulances and so on and so forth. Yeah. So that's how my journey started. Very different.
What's the name of the business and how long did you actively run?
I ran that business for about 5 years. Right? It was called First India Assistance. Then it became Falk because it was partnered with a large Danish company, which brought in the ambulance piece. I ran it for 5 years. I took my exit. This was 2014. And since then, I've been an independent angel investor.
Amazing. No, that's a great thing. So, Vikas, so when you started this, did this start with a lot of capital or was it a bootstrap business? Because it sounds like a very physical business, not like these tech platforms.
So there was a lot of capital, but not financial capital.
Okay.
It was a lot of intellectual capital, experiential capital, and network capital. Because I had studied this space for many, many years. And I was convinced that there is an opportunity. And I was trying to persuade, my bosses that they should undertake this business because this is unique to India. But they were not convinced. They felt it was too risky. And it was basically a bit off the grid to what they do globally.
Right.
So they were not prepared to enter into something which was not structured as a multinational service to all the large clients. Right. So I understood the business. I knew the people. I knew the supply side, demand side, capital, experience, and network. So I brought it all together. So when you say it was a lot of handwork, actually no. It was a lot of intellectual work because I had to combine third-party service providers to get this done.
Right.
And so we had the understanding of emergency responses, how to design a system, how to define a risk and deal with it. So yeah, of course, very intensely operational.
What was the scale of business in the first 6 months and then at 5 years?
So the scale of business when I started, I had a 6-month start in the sense that while I was exiting my previous company as an executive, as a founding MD of that company, because I'd started that company's operations in India, so I knew exactly what it takes to build, right? So I had a 6 months of parallel track. It was done very transparently with everybody's understanding. So when I started, within a month, I had about 20 paying clients. They were just waiting for me to get started. And so by the time I exited the business, it was about 30x of what I had started with first year. I had the option of continuing for 5 more years, but I at that point felt that I need to step out and do something of my own like this. Because, in the process of building my business, I was doing a lot of acquisitions. And that introduced me to the whole startup ecosystem. And I felt there is a huge opportunity where I, with my knowledge of 30 years experience, contact, capital, which I had when I got my exit, I thought I could do well outside the system. That's
amazing. And since you've been an investor, what is your portfolio currently looking like and how do you decide which industry versus which entrepreneur to go after, or how do you take those decisions? And what's the portfolio like?
So I have a largest portfolio. In fact, some people have published my name saying I'm the top 10 angel investor in the country. I don't know where they get it from. How do they measure, right? I have a largest portfolio, which I've methodically and thoughtfully built over the last 15 years. I've been investing for the last 15 years, right? And so my career prior to this healthcare emergency services has been very varied. I have got exposure to consumer products, consumer services, financial services, infrastructure. So when I stepped out into the world of entrepreneurship, I realized that, based on my experience and knowledge and cross-section of industries understanding, I was able to connect good practices, opportunity, risks across sectors and bring it to one point of decision-making and help the founder. My thesis is that I am a business partner for a prospective founder, right? And will this partnership create intensity of future earning power of the venture higher than it was before the partnership was formed? There is a basis for us to evaluate if it should, right? So the sole purpose of an investor, early stage investor, or any investor for that matter, when they partner a founder, is to say, what can we do together so that the earning power of the future of the venture accelerates? And that requires multiple things from multiple ventures, right? Some people need mentorship, some people need just capital, some people need network, visibility, and some need help with onward funding. So therefore, you have to calibrate that and work very closely with them. So when I take to invest in any venture with a founder, I'm very hands-on. I'm more like when I tell them, look, you are in high school. I'm your maths teacher, and I will help you get into IIT. Next round. Once you get there, I can't help you anymore. Then please find other people who can now get you from there to MIT or whatever your objectives are. But so therefore, when you look back, I hope that you send me a thank you card even 10 years from now saying, sir, aapki help se hum.
Right.
Maths, I love maths because of you.
Right. Oh, great. Any big case studies? Any companies that made it big?
Well, okay, so one of my favorite startup ventures is a company which is not known to anybody in the ecosystem, so to speak. It's called Global Assure Assistance Services, right? I have funded this principally with the founder and one more investor. So 2 principal investors, 1 founder is capital, and I'm sort of a co-founder.
Okay.
I'm a light touch co-founder. I'm a director of the company. And with a very small investment base, we are today doing about 100 crore ARR.
Right.
It's very profitable. It did not, based in Gurgaon. It is in the business of providing assistance services.
Got it.
Roadside assistance services, medical assistance, travel assistance,
Super.
and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's why that takes a lot of my time and passion of these.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure. All the best.